Greetings, this is Father Jose Lavastida, the pastor of Blessed Francis Xavier SEELOS Church, and I'm very happy to help with this abortion project. I have 5 questions that I would like to share with you briefly, the basic teaching of the church. The first question that I have is, what is the church's point of view on abortion? And the first thing that I would say is that the church doesn't have a point of view. It doesn't have a thinking. The church has a teaching, a doctrine. And with abortion, the main belief and doctrine of the church is that from the moment of conception, that means when the sperm and the egg are united and there's a conception in the mother, that life has to be respected with the dignity of a child of God. So from that very first moment, there's human life that has to be respected. Many people say, what does the church think about it is my body? I can do with my body whatever I want to do. And actually that's not true. Even legally, you cannot do whatever you want with your body. But here, in the case of abortion, the problem is that we're not talking just about the woman's body, but we're talking about another body, the child. And from the moment of conception, that is to be considered a human life, and with the dignity of a child of God, as I mentioned already, and to be respected completely. There's an infallible teaching of the church in the encyclical by St. John Paul II, number 62, that says any direct abortion is an intrinsic evil. It means it can never be right, it can never be justified. And there's a third question, does the church punish women for getting an abortion? The church doesn't punish anybody. The church is not in the business of punishing. There is a penalty for abortion, that is a canonical penalty, and that means that a person that commits an abortion, that does an abortion, that helps in an abortion, that pays an abortion, receives an excommunication by itself. In the moment that that is done, it is that person or those people are automatically excommunicated from the church. That means, for example, it doesn't need to be just the mother, the woman that is aborting, but also the father, who maybe many times forces the woman to have an abortion, the doctor, the nurses that cooperate in an abortion, whoever pays for an abortion is also liable to this canonical penalty. Canonical means the law of the church. So excommunication is not a punishment, it's actually sort of like a warning. It's an invitation to come back to the faith. So when you're excommunicated, you cannot receive communion again. And what the church wants to do with that is to show the person that is excommunicated that this is serious. This is not something that is simple, but it's actually a sin that is endangering your soul. So that's why it is an invitation to come back to the faith. It is not a punishment. The fourth question is, does the church believe that the baby in the womb feels pain during an abortion? And that's a good question, because pain, we would react much strongly to an abortion if we knew that there's pain involved. What we know from science is that by the 8th week, the child has already developed what is called the primitive streak. That is the central nervous system. So it is very possible that in many abortions there's already a sense or sensibility from the child that is being aborted, but really the question is irrelevant, because whether there's pain or not, you're still destroying a life. So that's not the basis for justifying destruction of life. And there are some movies that have used that whole notion to be against abortion, because one of that comes to mind is Silent Scream, that shows the baby reacting to an abortion, but that is irrelevant. And the last question is, what does the church think about rape victims getting an abortion? It's very minimal, the number of rape victims that become pregnant. So that is a very small percentage. Usually it is used to justify abortions because it is a very difficult situation. But one crime, namely the crime of rape, doesn't justify another crime, which is the crime of abortion. So I think we should be clear with those terms, and to know that we don't need to find excuses to be able to justify an abortion, even though it may be very difficult. But the moment that there is a conception, there is a new life to be respected at all times. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you have learned something new about the church's teaching on abortion today.